Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts. I'm here with Ashley, taking a look at the Mahlkönig E80. Ashley, firstly, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
For those that haven't seen the video with you and the E65 grind by weight, do you want to just give a 30-second bio about your journey in coffee and how you got here?
Sure. So I worked in a lot of cafes, a lot of roasteries, and in hospitality for a long time, maybe 15 years. Eventually I got over to, lucky enough to get a role in BrewTech, and now I'm a tech, specialising in La Marzocco and Mahlkönigs.
Mahlkönig you actually spent quite a bit of time with, so you are really familiar with these grinders. Do you want to kind of just explain the E80? Now this is grind by time. There is a grind by weight version coming out, but do you want to just explain the E80, who's it for, and kind of just a quick 30-second key features on this
Sure,
unit?
100%. So like you said, it is the big brother to the E65, but we're talking like big numbers, precision, and speed. So it's super quick. The motor is almost double the size of the E65. There's a lot more power going in here. So if you've got a really busy cafe and you want it fast, quick, precise,
Yep.
Maybe you don't want to weigh it, but maybe you don't have time to weigh it, but it is very precise.
So you mentioned quick, so let's just grind out and see it in action. We've got it dialed into 3.5 seconds. So we got 20 grams in 3.5 seconds. But another beautiful thing about this grinder is actually the screen and the software and the connectivity. Do you want to just dive into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the software the same as the E65, and the usability is just as simple and easy. So we're just going to go through, and you've still got all the same settings. So if you have both of them, you can do the same software on both of the grinders or any of the grinders. And then you can go into service and you can have a look at your software update. If it's got 300 upwards, we can connect to your phone or your laptop via Bluetooth. And if it's 200 under, you'll have to enter a little password. But from here, we can have a look at everything the grinder has. So its errors, its service, how much coffee it's done, and it's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, and knowing how much coffee it's done actually really helps with a cafe and not managing workload and staff and ordering.
Absolutely, yeah. And then we can also gauge when we need to change the burrs or how long they're lasting, things like that.
And to dial in different weights really is quick to go in and just change. So if you adjust your grind and you need to change your timing.
So editing the recipe is just as simple. So we're just going to double click on the jog dial here, and then we go edit recipes. And you've got up to 6 recipes in here. So you can have multiple. Maybe you'll have one at 19.5 grams, maybe 20.5, depending on how you dial in your coffee.
So you're actually editing on time not
based,
grams. Just because there is a grind by weight coming, I just wanted to make sure no one got confused.
100%, this is only time. So and you can see it here as well, time-based, which makes it nice and easy for you. So then we go into the time, and then you can adjust from here. It is important to go all the way across, not just changing one number and exiting, because then it won't save. So if you're in a hurry, take a breath and make sure you do it properly. And then that's where we edit it here. We go all the way across. Now we know that's saved. You can also change the portafilter if you have like a specific one, maybe a single dose or a naked, and that's for something specific. And now it's edited.
And the other thing too, it's really easy not only to adjust the portafilter support, but the angle of the spout. So depending on your portafilter, you really can get that coffee to load in the center of the basket. It makes it a lot easier to pull the portafilter out nice and clean.
Absolutely. So if you have a smaller or a larger dose, you don't want it sitting further back or further forward. So we can just go ahead and pull out that chute, and then here's your little horseshoe adjustment here. So when you get it, firstly, it'll look quite narrow all the way down, and then you can just adjust it from the bottom, and then that will determine where the coffee comes out.
So another cool thing, and it's probably more applicable to the smaller E65S, but you can get the little 250 gram hoppers that look really cool if you were to have these grinders at home. This one probably is a little bit too big for the home, but you could do it technically.
Absolutely, they're all interchangeable. So from the other smaller one, which is 1.2, 1.8 or 250, which is a pretty cool feature. If I was at home, I'd probably want one of these with a little 250 hopper.
Takes up a bit of room, but it'll be cool.
It's also really quiet, so one of those things when you go into a cafe, you hear milk screeching and you can't talk to the barista over the you know, over the grinder grinding, but this is pretty quiet. So to go into a cafe where you can talk to someone, it's super quick, the coffee tastes good, and it's easy to dial in, and no one's screaming over the top of each other is a pretty cool feature.
I do like, I mean, now grinding on demand is common, like it's everywhere, but it's so nice not to hear that tick, 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 tick from back in the day. You walk into a cafe and all you hear bang, 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 bang. It's just so nice that grind on demand's really made everything a lot more pleasant.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also looks cool.
And from a cleaning perspective, when it comes to cleaning, what's the routine you recommend for this grinder?
Okay, so just the same as an E65S or an E65 grind by weight, we want to take the chute out, give it a nice wipe with a dry cloth and make sure that that's really clean. We don't want to leave that wet. We take the plate off and it just has a flapper. It doesn't have the backside anti-static like an E65 does. So we just keep that nice, clean and dry. I would do that ideally every day. If you've got one of these grinders, you probably need to clean it, but you can do it once a week, once a fortnight. You'll be able to gauge how often you need to do it. You can also get the burr tool if you want to remove them the same as an E65, which makes life quite easy. And we've also got some grinder cleans, which is definitely recommended. So if you find that you don't really need to clean it every day, maybe you could just chuck some grinder cleans once a week or maybe twice a week.
So you let your coffee grind out, and grinder cleans is a product that you can buy. This is Cafetto, there's a few brands out there, and you basically grind these and it comes out, and not only does it clean out the grinder, it coats the burrs overnight, right?
100%. So the grinder cleaner is pretty accessible. You can put in just a tablespoon. You don't need very much. We're only coating the burrs. So at the end of the day, maybe you're doing a deep clean on a Friday. You'll grind out all the coffee. We'll put a little bit of that in just to coat the burrs. And when it sits overnight, it's drawing the oils out, which is, you know, making the coffee not only taste better, it's for the longevity of the burrs as well.
And that's a quick view of the E80. There is a grind by weight version of this coming out. It's very similar to the E65 grind by weight, but obviously you get the bigger blades, faster grinder. But that's coming out undefined date as yet, right?
Yeah, I would say undefined date.
Or we're just not allowed to say it.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Another cool thing is Mahlkönig worked together with Puck, and Puck's built the M5, so a tamper that fits perfectly under this. And because this grinder is super fast and consistent, and then you got the Puck, which is consistent, you really get that workflow and automation. I really like when two companies come together.
And it saves some space as well.
That's true. And I just wanted to say thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And I've learned quite a fair bit on the Mahlkönig range with you, so I really appreciate it.
No worries. Happy to come and show off the grinder that will change the game.
And if anyone has any questions for Ashley or myself, hit us up in the comments below, or if you have this grinder, just let me know you have it. And like always, if this video has brought you value, please hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Thank you, and see you on the next video.